Do you want to learn how to work beyond your astrological chart? This is something that a lot of people, including astrologers, will not teach you or even be able to teach you. Instead of just interpreting your birth chart point blank for what you think it is. Oh my God. Please. Siri just heard me. Wow. That's really disappointing. I hate when that happens. It interrupts my train of thought. I hope you can hear me okay. So, like I was saying, astrologers cannot give you what you can give you when you interpret your own birth chart. Give me a moment. I'm going to check the sound. Okay, we're fine. That spooked me. That's why I wanted to make sure. So how can you see your chart and make it work for you? This is a skill. This is something you have to learn how to do. Because if you want to make any sort of progress in life, spiritual progress, physical progress, anything, emotional progress, if you want to heal patterns of thinking, if you want to feel better, if you want to even get out of depression, you need to learn how to use your chart for your benefit and make it work for you. And I'm not talking about heightened self-awareness that you get from studying each benefic or malefic planet in a house or in a sign. That's raw material. That's very easy to comprehend and very easy to interpret. It's like reading a book. What's not easy and what is more effective than simply just reading a book or reading your chart is seeing how you can take it a step further and remedy anything that you need to remedy, number one. And then number two, capitalize off of your current experiences that you can see being reflected to you in your chart. Everything that you think is true about you, capitalize off of that. And the things that you need to work on in your chart, work on them so you can master the house or use the malefic planet to its full power, basically, and potency. And this can be done by not taking things at face value, like seeing a planet as being simply malefic or benefic. That's, again, very obvious. What you want to do is you want to study, right, the essence of the planet, the God that rules the planet. And when you can study under the tutelage, if you will, the energetic or spiritual tutelage of each god or planet or graha, then you can receive their blessing. Oh my God, Siri interrupted me again. I'm literally so over this. I hope you heard what I said. I said you would be able to receive their blessing. And this is very important because this is how you remedy anything in your birth chart. This is how you actually solve your karmas, which is what we are meant to do here in life anyway. We're meant to burn karma. It's just that for some people it takes a lot of time to do that, practically their whole lives, because they don't know that they're here to burn karma. They're not aware of it. And so because of that, it becomes a lot harder to actually burn karma. It becomes more strenuous, number one, and number two, it takes longer. So you don't want that because that's simply not optimal for progressing in life in a way that is effective and in a way that maximizes your full infinite potential as a jiva, as a soul. I need to turn Siri off. Give me a moment. God, thank you. My God. The most scary, ridiculous, annoying thing. I have Siri disabled on everything because I'm just shut up. We don't need your input. It's so, yeah. And then, so this is how you can remedy your karma. And if you're struggling in your life, that means that you have inner work to do. Because if you did not have inner work to do, then you would not be battling your outer circumstances. It's just very descriptive in and of itself, right? So your feelings are a clear indication of what you need to actually work on. Let's say you're struggling with something in life. You need to find what it is within you that has attracted that situation to you so you can stop repeating it, break the cycle, if you will. And when you can identify what within you is mirroring your outer circumstances or causing your outer circumstances, right, then you can change that within you. The only power we have is to change ourselves, but it's not that that's the only power we have. It's that that's the most power anybody could have, because when you change what's within, your outer circumstances change to match you. As within, so without. But take that phrase for what it is, meaning this life is a mirror, right, to your inner world and to your level of consciousness. And what's cool is that we're above the consciousness. We're the soul, right? We're not the consciousness or even the mind, right? So we're the soul. We have the ability to manipulate these things, to manipulate the mind, to manipulate the consciousness. And that's what self-mastery is. That's what mental mastery is. In a nutshell, essentially. So anybody can do this, and everybody can do this, and this is how one heals themselves from any ailment, physical or mental, from any poverty, financial or otherwise. And it's really important that people understand this, so that they can understand that they have the power. It's not outside of you, it's within you. It's hard maybe to accept this. It would be hard maybe for some people to accept this because they wish to perpetuate ideologies of victimhood or ideologies of thinking that they're helpless, because then they don't have to take responsibility for their lives. And it's just like watching a child grow up. Like, if you don't want to take responsibility, well, then you will when you're ready, And so it is what it is at that point, right? That's all right. Everything is all right. There's nothing in life that is not all right. Everything is all right, right? Because everything happens perfectly. It's not that things are perfect or imperfect just because we view them as such. No, our viewpoint determines our circumstances, and when we can wake up to the fact that it is a mirror and mirrors reflect things perfectly, then we see every circumstance in our life as being automatically perfect. It is already perfect, and if you would like to see that perfection present itself in a different way, then you can change the presentation within, right? Please take that phrase literally, as within, so without. It's very synonymous to the phrase as above, so below. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this phrase is illustrated when we can hear about the stories of Goloka Vrindavan and how the general layout is very much mimicking the way Earth operates in terms of its natural operations. Nature is God, right? Like, personified. So I say that it is important for every human being to recognize their potential, their infinite potential, and to wake up to the fact that they are here to do lots of self-exploration, and the inner work will just be a part of that, and that it's actually all very beautiful and fun and empowering over time. If people can just wake up to that, then no one on earth would be depressed or feeling like they shouldn't be here, or feeling trapped, or feeling like they are better off not being here. Like, no one would feel that way. And this is vital, because when the soul is imprisoned, the body cannot function, the mind cannot function, the potential cannot even be found, let alone accomplished or achieved. It cannot even be located. This is death. This is what it means. That's true death. Actual death, like passing of the body, is a mystical, transformative walk. But death of the spirit is real, and it is way worse. And it is actually it's the worst pain that you can feel here. So I don't wish anybody ever to have to feel that way. But for some, when they do, if they do, that leads them to their self-discovery, because it's simply so painful. You can't stay there. You cannot stay in that place of pain. Like, you have to sit on the rock bottom and look up and be like, oh wow, there's literally nothing. I can't go lower. I have to start figuring out why I'm even here. I can't go lower than this, right? And so the process of self-discovery begins, and that's how many people are led to bhakti yoga and spirituality and all these things. And it's the best. It's just the best, because the awakening process does not happen really without a catalyst. You have to die in a way in order to be reborn, right? Actually, isn't that true? And what is the process of self-discovery? It's rebirth. It's realizing that, hey, I actually am already very perfect and innocent and just sweet, the way that I was when I was a child. That's who I am. Wow, all these years I thought that I was not my soul. I thought that I was my personality, carefully crafted over a period of time based on my external conditionings and circumstances. Wow, I thought I was my environment. Wow, I thought I was the opinions of other people, all these things. So the process of rediscovery is actually much like the process of getting born all over again. And everyone should be born all over again. Everyone should undergo that, especially if they don't feel like they are renewed all the time, right? Or feeling free, right? People need to feel free so they can, again, reach that highest potential, reach that high place of potential. And I'll tell you one thing. Again, you can learn about how your life is going and how your karmas are playing out by analyzing your feelings. If you're someone that feels, envy or angry or jealousy or any low vibrational thing that festers within your spirit and affects your body, then you're allowing yourself willingly to be spiritually sick, if you will. And you're allowing it to happen. That's the thing. If you feed yourself, whatever you feed yourself, it'll make you. That's it. Everyone knows that, right? It is normal. It is normal to feel every feeling and everything, but what's not normal is harming the self, right? The soul doesn't actually want to harm itself, but we do harm ourselves. Why? Because we don't realize we're the soul. We don't think we're the soul. We think we're the ego that needs that ego trip all the time. But we're actually, the more we feed our ego, the more distant we're getting from ourselves. And no, the ego is not a bad thing, like you've probably been taught in mainstream or new age spirituality or mastery education. No, the ego is a design, like the legs of a spider carry the body of a spider. The ego is a design to transport the soul to wherever it needs to go in order to fulfill its purpose here. That's why you have the body you have. That's why you have the circumstances you have, the family you have, because everything has all been carefully crafted by your egoic self, by the superconscious, then the consciousness, and then it all leaks down to the ego, right? The crafted personality. That's why if you've been like vegetarian your whole life and you start to eat meat, like you'll look different. Because everything is interconnected to one another, and the body is just the physical manifestation of whatever is going on within. It's the last thing, the body and the surroundings and the house you have and the money, whatever. Those are the last things that get affected by the weavings of your subconscious mind. This is why we target the subconscious. This is why we target the superconscious, if you will, the actual place of where the consciousness sits on a scale of frequency, right? That's why when one says, raise your vibration, they're talking about raising your consciousness to a certain level that mimics or matches a certain frequency. This is just how you measure. Frequency is a tool of measurement to measure states of being, to measure vibration, and to measure consciousness as well. Just like centimeters or meters or, it is a means of measurement. So the ego is not anything but the legs of a spider. It's not negative or positive, and nothing is negative or positive. These are just states of polarity, like on a magnet, or on the magnetic planes of existence that surround the earth as well. That's why we have North Pole and South Pole. So this must be accounted for. We must not judge ourselves or others. We must be willing and ready to be so hurt by the world and be so hurt and in pain from life that we take it upon ourselves to sit down on rock bottom and look up and think, I would only like to go up from here. I'm done drilling myself down into this area of pain, like I'm done. I now choose to go up. I actually don't have a choice because I'm here in this body. So I choose to ascend, right? And I choose to do the inner work. All is mental. Never forget that, right? Like whatever, you cannot change you cannot change your life or your surroundings or whatever really for long term unless you change how you think. Like there is an example of people that have lost weight and then they gain it back later because they don't have the mental frameworks established to maintain it or to keep it, and they feel a disconnect from themselves to their new body, and they have not done the internal work to realize that, moderation in this is key. I have to do this more. I am now embodying this archetype, right? Like, you must be really, really integrated with whatever you want to keep or have. And this is why during death, when we attempt to achieve the process of liberation, we merge with God, we merge with the One, we merge. Liberation is merging. You cannot be liberated, you cannot fixate the life breath at the between the two eyebrows and envision Krishna, right? And somehow still be separate from that. You have to be willing to literally merge when you exhale upward, and quit your body essentially. You cannot be stuck to anything in this material realm, especially your body, including your body. And some people, during the time of death, are afraid to die and they're afraid to leave their body. And that's completely, obviously, hello, that makes sense, But it is therefore imperative to realize that there's no such actual thing as fear. Like, there's no such thing. We build cages around ourselves for the same reason that we self-restrict or unconsciously self-harm or unconsciously keep ourselves from self-discovering and recognizing our true infinite potential as a soul, right? And that reason is conditioning, societal conditioning from this 3D world, conditioning from this Kali Yuga. Like, a lot of conditioning keeps us bound in these bodies and in the routines that we've established, and the habits we have, and the mental frameworks we have. That's the biggest thing, because the mental framework decides everything else. The vibrational framework, the level of consciousness that you're at, dictates everything else. The mind is not just the mind is the consciousness. People have to understand that this is infinitely powerful, right? I'm not talking about thoughts. Thoughts are just, the rain that falls from the cloud, but the cloud is, connected to the heavens. It holds the substance of all Akash, right? Of all sky, of all things in existence that have ever existed for time immemorial. You see what I'm saying? You get the picture? So we must not focus on the rain. Like, we are not the thoughts. We are not even the thing that produces thoughts. We are not even the thing that holds the thing that produces thoughts, the consciousness to the mind, to the thoughts, right? We are above that. We are the soul. We are the energy, the life force energy, the electricity, the Agni, right? The part and parcel of God, of Paramatma, if you will. Like, that's who we are. We're a slice of the sun. And we don't recognize that often. Because of what? Because of conditioning. That's why if you, go down a path of self-discovery, you will have to, I'll leave it there. I'm not really going to say anything about that. All that I'll say is that you come home to yourself, and that means that you don't find home anywhere outside of yourself. You find home deep within yourself. You find God within yourself. So remember that you have the ability to learn from your life and from the lives of other people too. You have the ability to make anyone your teacher, even and especially including planets and different demigods that reside within planets that are encapsulated all within a perfect layout of your birth chart that can show you the astrological or cosmic DNA that you have, which you do. So, thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here. Let me know if you enjoyed this podcast by going ahead and rating us 5 stars. I would very much appreciate that. And I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.